back. So, welcome everybody to 2023. I know it's already a week later, but I've been busy. Leave me alone. So, I did this last year and actually kind of enjoyed it because it helped me, remember all the shenanigans that I got into in 2021. So, let's do a quick, not year-end review, but I'm going to break down, like the things that I did. 2022 was a great year for me, honestly. Did a bunch of stuff, started a new job. So, we're going to break that down, break down some of my adventures and the things that I learned. Like what was my favorite video game of the year? What was my favorite movie, show, and stuff like that. So let's get into it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
So, back in 2019, I learned my lesson, and I learned my lesson hard, that I'm not going to make predictions for a year, because everything just blows up in your face. 2020 was terrible. I was actually very excited for 2020. It's probably the year that I was most excited about until 2023, because 2023 is actually, it's looking pretty good for me. I'm excited for it. I don't want to get, too optimistic or make predictions and stuff, because again, blew up in my face terribly, disgusting. I still have nightmares about it, but it's looking pretty good. Like I said, I'm moving. I'm gonna have my own studio now. There's a bunch of changes, happening just on there alone. Like January's a mess, but I'm already learning a bunch of stuff, requiring move, fixing furniture and stuff like that. But my brother's, he's having a son. Some of my best friends are having kids of their own. Another friend's gonna try having kids. My sister's getting married. So there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff to look forward to, and I'm very excited about it. So it's going to be very different. Hopefully it's going to be, a great year. Hopefully it's going to be the best year yet. So very much looking forward. I already have a plan in the horizon, trip in the horizon. I'm going to go to, I'm going to go pick up a dog because I'm getting a new dog in this weekend. So I'm going to travel to pick the dog up, and then I'm going to travel to Japan like in March and like in a few months. So again, exciting stuff. Looking forward to it. The years looks like it's going to be good. Hopefully it'll, stay that way, but we'll see. We'll see. It's so far, so good. It sucks. It's extremely exhausting moving. My back is killing me like you have no idea. But we're getting stuff done. It's been little by little getting stuff done, moving forward. But we're not here to talk about 2022. We're here to talk about, we're not here to talk about 2023. We're here to talk about 2022. So I'll just get a few quick things out of the way. I'm not doing my best geek movies 2022 review right here. I'll do it in another podcast, and it won't be the next one because the next one's probably going to be a football one. Actually, I was supposed to do the football one with my brother today, but he was a bitch, and so I decided, I've owed this one. I said I was going to do it. I need to do it, and because again, I really haven't had time to do anything, anything other than move. And this week I have a bunch of stuff that I need to do. It's exhausting, but whatever. You don't care about that stuff. Anyway. What was I even saying? Oh yeah, so this is not, I will do the best geek movies. I still haven't seen one, and it's because I really don't care about seeing it, but I promised I would, so I'm gonna see it. So I'm hoping that maybe by Monday I'll be able to load it. Again, I don't know if it's gonna be this setup anymore. I may just do it on my phone and just edit it out in my laptop somewhere. I don't know. Again, I don't even know where my laptop is now that I think about it. It's all a mess. Everything's a mess. But hopefully things, will start getting in order a bit soon. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, really quickly, if you want to get these out of the way, To me, the best video game that I played last year, new video game, was Elden Ring. Loved Elden Ring. It was phenomenal. It won actually Video Game of the Year, and it very much deserved it. I did a quick review on it. It was infuriating. Many things. But the important thing is that I finished it. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. To me, the thing that it has that's above and beyond everybody else is the freaking the horse. Well, it's not really a horse, but whatever. It's the fact that it has a double jump, that your ride has a double jump is phenomenal. I don't know why nobody's ever done that before, but it's great. The torrents mechanics are phenomenal. I loved using that thing. Whenever I could, I would use torrent because I just love the thing. So to me, that was my favorite part. Everything else is very similar to Dark Souls. You just gotta get good. A video game that also surprised me that is not really new is Cyberpunk. I really enjoyed playing Cyberpunk 2077. I I played it before I watched the anime, and I played it because of the anime, basically, because I wanted to watch it, and a buddy of mine told me, like, dude, you got to give the game a shot. You got to give the game a shot. Once they fixed a lot of the glitches, they can't fix all the glitches, but you'll really enjoy it. And I gave it a shot, and the thing is a freaking masterpiece. I'm sorry, not a masterpiece. The thing is a tragedy. And it's a tragedy because you can see what they wanted to do, the scope, the ambition. And if it would have worked, it would have been one of the greatest games of all time. Unfortunately, they fucked it up. They released it way too soon, but they've patched it enough. The game's playable, and it's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed playing the game. Like I do, like a bunch of the side quests are better written than most of the things that I've seen that you'll see in TV today. It's, again, they have a phenomenal group of writers there with CD Projekt Red, and they do not disappoint, at least in that arena. So I recommend it. Give it a shot, maybe, if you want. A franchise that, speaking of video games, the franchise that really has disappointed me is Pokemon, and I don't know, I feel like Pokemon has left me behind. Like in 2022, that's what I discovered, because the newest Pokemon games, they're playable, but they do stuff that really annoys me. And again, it's the experience share. I hate it. I hate it because it makes it that basically experience share, for those of you who don't know, is that when you have that thing turned on and you can't turn it off, at least I haven't been able to figure out how you can turn it off, is basically all the Pokemon in your party get experience from battles, which means that all the Pokemon in your party could evolve, and you can end up having a party with level 100 Pokemon that you've never used before. You only have to use one Pokemon, and everybody else is still gonna get. I hate it because it takes away. Pokemon is pretty straightforward, and you get it from the song what you want. Right? The catchphrase is you gotta catch them all. And if you remember the song, the theme song is I want to be the very best like no one ever was. I can sing it. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. Yeah, so that's it. You want to train them, you want to catch them, and you want to train them. That's the point. And you build, kind of a bond with these monsters, but you don't get that anymore. I don't feel it. It left me behind. Unfortunately, Pokemon left me behind. The monsters are too weird. They're not cool anymore, or at least they're not as cool as they used to be. It feels lazy. It feels lazy. They made too much money, and I don't know. It's been disappointing. The newest one, Violet and Scarlet, came out glitchy as fuck. So when you're one of the largest franchises in the world, that's just unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And they don't put any effort into it, and I don't understand why. Because there's so much they could do with it, and they don't. It's not like The Legend of Zelda. They keep knocking it out of the park time after, because they keep trying stuff. They keep pushing. They try to be the best. They try to create a masterpiece every single time, and they knock it out of the park because they actually. It's like they love their product. Pokemon, it doesn't feel that way anymore. So it's left me behind, and it's sad. It's disappointing. I mean, it sucks because this year, Ash finally won the championship, but I saw Pokemon Journeys on Netflix. I hated that there was a guy, one of the, the sidekicks, the sidekick for this season. He captured Pokemon without battling them. He just threw Pokeballs at them, and he would catch like a Weedle, a Kakuna, and a Beedrill instead of getting a Weedle and training it up to a Beedrill. It just left me behind. And I know the argument for like, hey, well, they needed to make it easier for little kids. Like, yeah, I was a little kid when I played Pokemon, the yellow version, and it was hard, but it was part of it, and it was fun. And if I could do it when I was 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I don't even know, but I was very, very little when it first came out. I'm sure that the kids right now can figure it out. It sucks. It left me behind, unfortunately. I still love it. I love the generations that I got to play, but I don't know. I'm no longer gonna pre-order or anything. That's for sure. So we'll see how that goes. So far, best anime that I saw this year, Chainsaw Man. I love Chainsaw Man. You have no idea. We'll probably do an Otaku Tuesday to talk about it, because me and my kid brother Eric, we used to, on Tuesdays every single day during my work break, we would just sit down and watch Chainsaw Man and love it. It's like it's probably the second best dude show I've seen, animated, like anime dude show that I've seen, and it's great. I highly recommend it. It's so fucking insane. If you like that kind of dude insane humor, you'll probably love it. Chainsaw Man is phenomenal. The best anime movie that I saw, it's actually not a new one, but the best anime movie is based off a show. The show's called Danmachi, and that's its other name. It's also known as Is It Okay to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I think that's the American name. The movie's called Arrow of Orion. It's better if you watch the show in order to have like all the context of the movie. But they did something, I was expecting nothing from this movie. I expected it to be like a OVA or something from this stupid little show that I watch, and it's got one of the most phenomenal stories I've seen, or at least character wise. Like Greek, it's a Greek tragedy of epic proportions. Like the Greeks, Shakespeare would have been like, that's phenomenal. Like, good job. Holy shit. Like the situations that you're putting these characters in is like, great. Give us more. Kudos. So unfortunately, it doesn't really tie into the rest of the show afterwards. It's kind of like its own separate thing. But holy shit, that's phenomenal writing. It was phenomenal writing. I loved every second of it, especially because I was expecting nothing. I expected something of the quality of the show, which was kind of like weird and lame, but whatever. It's fine. I enjoyed it. Next, the best movie that I watched. Now, this is difficult because, again, I'm not going to get into the geek movies, but there's 3 movies that I enjoyed watching. And I'm not saying they're the best movies. I'm saying the movies that I enjoyed the most. And I've also noticed a pattern. So the movies that I enjoyed watching the most, again, non-geek movies, would be Top Gun Maverick, Bullet Train, and The Unbearable Weight of Extraordinary Talent, which is the Nicolas Cage movie. I really, really loved all 3, and I think the reason, a big factor there is because I went to see it with my friends. So again, after years of not going to the movies, like in a group, we did it again, and maybe it was the experience of watching it in theater with a group of people, or it's the fact that the movie was phenomenal, but those 3 were probably my favorite. Out of all of them, I have to say that I think Maverick was the best. The other 2 were just, hilariously stupid. Like Bullet Train's an action movie that never really tries to take itself seriously, and the Unbearable Weight of Extraordinary Talent never really doesn't even know what the word series is. And I was crying laughing with that one. So if you're a Nicolas Cage fan, you'll probably love it. Top Gun, on the other hand, it actually it gets you hyped. It gets you hyped about joining the Air Force and stuff. Like, it makes them look cool. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's an exciting movie. So is it perfect? No, but definitely fun to watch in the movie theaters. So I think I already did a review for that one, so I'm not gonna get too much into it. But moving on, best show. Well, the one that I probably enjoyed the most is the one that I reviewed, which would be House of the Dragon. I'm not gonna say it's the best show, but I enjoyed it because I get to rip into it. I get to just destroy it, and it's fun for me. And I also, this is the year when I've actually started giving up on stuff. Like I said, I'm like, Pokemon left me behind, but it's been very rare that I've given up on a show. Like, once I start a show, I finish it. Even if it sucks, but I finish it. And this year I gave up on 2 that were like, they're shocking to me because they were supposedly, like, I was supposed to be their target audience for it, but they just completely fucked it up. So first show that I gave up on was Halo. I gave up after episode 2. So the first episode really bugged me for a lot of reasons. Like, I don't understand why they would not take cover in the beginning, in the first shootout. It just looked cool, sure. The effects, yeah, it looks epic and gory and all that stuff. So yeah, it looks very pretty. But it's like, what? Okay. Let's say I didn't like the strategy, the military strategy that was going on. But in the second episode, when they first off, Master Chief taking off his helmet, hated it. The whole logic behind, we can't have a show where the protagonist doesn't show his face. It's like, hey, have you seen The Mandalorian? And you've seen how popular it is? Is the only reason why Star Wars is relevant anymore. But whatever. I hated that they did that in the first episode. And then Master Chief going to like an asteroid city in the middle of nowhere that I've never heard of before. I was like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? What? This isn't Halo. This is just, a weird sci-fi show, wearing Halo's mask. This is stupid. They just like they carved out like a franchise's soul, and they're using they're using it as a bodysuit. It's I don't know. I just gave up after episode 2. Another show I gave up on was The Lord of the Rings. Like I was actually I liked the first 2, but then I watched the third one. I was like, fuck this. I can't. I'm done. I'm through in the towel. Like, after they went to Numenor, I was like, I'm done. Like, this is just too stupid. Galadriel just sucks too much. They just completely butchered that character. And the whole thing with Numenor just makes no sense. The Numenorians being like, the sea is always right. Like, your people knew the gods. You're descended from people blessed from gods. What the hell are you talking about? The sea. Like, you actually know God's name. So, you know elves who have met the gods. What the fuck are you talking about? So it was just too stupid. Again, it wasn't Lord of the Rings. It was a fantasy show wearing the Lord of the Rings as a skin suit. And I was like, fuck this. It's not even a good, like, it looks pretty short because they put a lot of money into it, but it's stupid. It's soulless. And so that was another thing that I gave up on. So again, you need to learn to give up. Like, this year, I started doing something different. I haven't really talked about this yet, and I probably should have, because the most important thing, the biggest change in my life is that I started a new job. And the new job, it's kept me at home. It's subtitling. For those of you who don't know, it's subtitling TV shows, movies, and stuff like that. And there's way more into it than just that, because it's also translations and stuff. But whatever. The point is, I've been watching a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies from a lot of different countries. And the stuff that's coming out from other countries is really good. Like, they actually take risks. They actually try, different exciting things. It's not just reboots or rehash stuff. They actually try new original content. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at least it's different. At least they're taking risks. And so I've really enjoyed that part. I really love my job. Like, it's very different but I love the company that I work for, because it's one of those things where, like, when you've been in a bad relationship and then you're in a good relationship, you're like, oh my god, that wasn't normal. It wasn't normal to get hit every day. So I remember, like, back in my radio days, and in radio they didn't encourage it, but they saw it as a good thing. Like, if you were sick, you powered through and you went to work. And I remember one day when I told my supervisor, like, oh, no, I'm starting to feel a little sick, but I can power through. I can finish this. She was like, no, no powering through here. You need to recover, and you need to stop. That's what sick days are for. Use the sick day. Recover. We want you at 100%. They forced me to take days off. Like, you're supposed to take a few. Well, to be honest, I wanted to save them for next year so that I could go on a longer vacation. But they were like, no, you need to rest up. We need you to rest up. It's the work that we do. It's tiring on your eyes, it's tiring on your head. So we need you to rest up. HR needs you to rest up. So it's a bunch of stuff it's little things. But it's like, wow, this is what a company that cares about you does. So I've really enjoyed working for it. It's a very different experience, very different work environment. Again, they care more about you than other stuff, but whatever. I don't know. It's also weird being like totally and completely replaceable. Like, I'm not that important in the company. Like, I'm sure what I do is important, but there's other people that do the exact same stuff. So like, if I miss a day, it's fine. Like, in radio, if I wasn't there was nobody who's going to do my job, and definitely nobody could do it on the level that I could do it. But things change. Another thing that changed is, like, I stopped doing the podcast as much because of the job. Because the job, I noticed that it started satisfying a creative side that I have. So, people have a lot of needs, and I have a creative need. I like creating stuff. I like building stuff. And I like being artistic. But my job actually allows me to be a little bit more creative. Because, again, sometimes the dialogue doesn't make sense, and I need to fix it up a bit, and so you need to get creative with it. You need to find a better way of saying it, something that makes more sense. You need a way of translating things that otherwise, would completely ruin a show, and or give a character a certain voice. So again, it satisfies a creative side. And so I don't know, like, I started the podcast started going in the back burner, and I really didn't want that. I really didn't want that because I enjoy doing this. Used to be like therapy for me, but then I also realized, sure, this is therapy for me because I get to basically yell at a microphone and complain about stuff, and people find it funny sometimes, or they agree. But it's it's interesting. I'm not as angry anymore. Like, I'm not as upset about stuff. I don't know if it's just I don't care, or I care more about important stuff, or just I've learned to let go of things, or maybe just I don't have that many reasons to be mad at stuff or upset. It's like, whatever, I can let it go. I don't know what it is, but I did find it interesting. Like, could that be it? Is that the reason why I don't have like this drive to just go and blast in the microphone? But I don't know. I also learned a lot of stuff. Like, one of the most important things that I did this year is like I started learning to do stuff that takes me outside of the house. Because again, I work in my house, and so I needed to find stuff that takes me out of my house. And getting hobbies are a good thing. And you need at least one hobby that's in the house and one that's out of the house. And I already have a lot of in the house. I like reading. I love watching TV shows, movies, video games, board games, puzzles. So I already have a lot of in-house stuff. So I needed stuff that took me outside. And I really got into hunting. I learned a lot about guns. Started playing softball with my friends. And so it's important because I had this conversation with a friend. And he said something that I thought was very important. He said that the easiest thing you can do to pass the time is like grab a beer and watch TV. It's the easiest thing. It's right there. It's in your house. It's refreshing, whatever. And that's why it's the most dangerous. It destroys you little by little. It destroys you. So you need to balance that out. You need something that gets you out of the house, at least outside. And so, I've been trying to find hobbies that get me out of the house. So for the new house, like I'm starting to, I want to have like a little garden or something. I've never kept a plant alive in my life, but I want to like, these are my tomatoes. Getting a new puppy, that also makes you do stuff. You need to, train it and stuff. What else? So we're fixing up furniture. So again, that's stuff I'm going to be learning or doing. But I think I really got into hunting, and so we also went sports fishing. So I think this is a good point where we can talk about like what I did in the year. So I'm gonna try to follow along with my phone here because there's stuff that I don't really have pictures for, at least I don't think. But it's important that happened last year. So those are kind of like the things that I learned, like the big things, like the important things, maybe like the big revelations that I had. But at least they were useful to me. I don't know if they're useful to you, but they were useful to me. So let's get started. Let me just put this a little bit bigger here so you can enjoy it a little bit more. So first off, really got into hiking last year. Like, my girlfriend, she loves hiking. And so like, she's basically a goat. So she likes doing it. And again, stuff that takes you outside. So I was like, all right, we'll go out. We'll start hiking and I'll do it. And I liked, I recorded a lot of content. I hate editing. So I've never really done anything with the content. It's just sitting there on a hard drive or on my phone. But maybe I'll hire somebody to edit something with it. But the point is, this is Cowles Mountain. We explored it. It was fun. That was the beginning of the year 2022. We started off strong, a nice little hike. After that, we went to Vegas. And this was one of the most bizarre trips to Vegas that we've ever had because we couldn't really do much. It was really quick. We supposedly went there for the Chargers game. Whoa, this is not supposed to be making audio. Nope. Quiet, you. Shut up. So, this is, again, one of the weirdest. We supposedly went there for the Chargers-Raiders game, but we never managed to get tickets because we were like, all right, once the game starts, prices will go down, and then we'll be able to, get into the game. But the prices never went down. They went up, and by the time they were like, fuck it, we'll just pay the price. Ticketmaster, I don't know, went on the fritz, and we couldn't buy the tickets. So it was very weird. But we couldn't do it, and so we also wanted to go to a show or something because my girlfriend had never gone to Vegas. Every single show that we wanted to go to, the crew was on vacation. I don't know. I didn't know they took vacations. I thought that they used the backups or something, but they were on vacation. We wanted to go see Cirque du Soleil's Love, which is the Beatles one, on vacation. I was like, fuck it, let's just go to Tournament of Kings. You know, it's dinner and a show. But for those people who don't know, it's basically like it's an Excalibur. It's basically a knight's what's it called? It's not a duel. What is it? It's a jousting tournament. And so it's fun. It's enjoyable. You get to see like a big turkey leg, drink some, some ale or whatever. And it's fun. Again, on vacation. Who would think? I had no idea they went on vacation, but apparently they did. And it's exactly the week that we were gonna be there. So the weekend. So again, really, she's really unlucky. Now again, the one thing that we did get to do was we saw the Australian Bee Gees. My brother gave my parents tickets as I think it's a Christmas gift or something, and so we went with him. It's fine. It was a fun show. It was mostly old people, but it was fun. It was enjoyable. If you're ever there, it's a fun little show, and apparently they don't take vacations. The next thing we did is, where is this? I think we went up Iron Mountain. I'm pretty sure this is Iron Mountain. It's a trip. Like, it's a few miles. It's worthy of the name. It's no joke, but it's a fun little experience. Again, it's a fun little hike. Again, more hiking, a lot of freaking hiking. This one, oh no, I might be. This one is actually, yeah. So the other one was Iron Mountain. This one's Mission Hills, and we took my dog, Taki, and I tied up it's not a GoPro, but it's an action cam to her back. You can see it right here. We tied it up to the backpack. I was trying it out to see how this would look, and I think I have some footage from her. Yeah. So I got some footage. This is how it looks, like an action cam. I think on another hike, I figured out how to do it so that it's a little bit higher. I attached to, again, we were just trying stuff out. And so, because the plan was to do it more. But again, it was a very weird year. That's me walking in front of her. So it was fun. I think this is the hike where it was getting dark and we were kind of lost in the middle of it. It was also the day that it was a playoffs. I think it was the 49ers versus the Cowboys. So I kind of wanted to hear the game. And that's why the battery on my phone was dying. So, it was not smart all around. But it's a fun little hike. And it's always great to have your dogs, with you, on a hike. Although, she does get pretty tired. Next, again, here we went camping to Julian. Because, we wanted to maybe see if we caught some snow or whatever. Or, again, just go camping. Again, stuff outside. Do stuff outside. This one was interesting because we didn't have a reservation. We just we're hiking this weekend. We have the days, and we went there. And the first night we left super late. We left Friday after work, so it was 7 or something, and it was 8 by the time that we managed to get all our supplies or whatever. And when we got to the campsite, there was nobody there, and we thought that it was locked down and stuff. So we spent the first night in our car. It was brutal. It was freezing. Thank God we had the dog, so it was she could kind of keep us warm a little bit, but it was not a fun experience. Afterwards, it was fine. It's, Julian's beautiful. They have great apple pie. We actually got a cinnamon roll. They have a killer cinnamon roll, some hot chocolate. It was great. It was enjoyable. It was fun. And then we camped a little bit. It was cool. Next, first, trip that I actually went on a plane of this year, of 2022. That's Zacatecas. I think I already broke down my trip to Zacatecas. It's a beautiful old town in the middle of Mexico. It is a city officially, but as you can see, it's kind of old timey in the way that it looks. It's a lot of fun. The most important thing that we did there is it's a thing called the tirolesa. It's like a cart where it took us across the city from a big hill in there. We also went to see a mine. The mine is interesting. I think I already broke this down on a video, so if you want to check that out, you can see it. Trip to Zacatecas, it was probably from a year ago. It's fun. I learned a lot. So, and I broke down some of the stuff that I learned there. We also went to this beautiful little restaurant that's kind of in a coliseum. I don't know what it is, but it's really fancy. It's really nice. It's really cool. Again, it's a very old city. So it looks what would you call this? What's the style? It's kind of like French, Roman. I don't know, but it's really nice. Next, we also went to some ruins in Zacatecas. These are maybe thousands of years old. I don't remember. Again, just watch the video, but it's cool. There's a lake next to it. It's fun. It's a fun little experience, a fun little drive, a fun little trip. I do not regret it. It was basically, well, we have the V Pass, which is a thing where you get one flight a month basically, and so we're like, we gotta use it, and we have this weekend off, so let's go to Zacatecas because she'd never been. Next thing from the year, it's I went to see Mammoth WVH, a band that I wasn't really expecting much from, but I was massively impressed by the results. Also, around this point of the year, maybe a little bit sooner, my grandma passed away, so that's also like a big thing. It was a big moment of the family, very big moment of the family. It brought some of us closer together. It was really sad, but yeah, that was also probably one of the biggest things that happened last year. So there you go. What else? Where am I going here? So Mammoth WH already broke down this concert, I think. Next, we went to the Grand Canyon. I'm sure that I've broken down this particular trip. It was enjoyable. It was fun. Top of the world. We almost died on the way down. We almost died on the way back. We almost got lost in the woods. Fun little experience. But to me, like my favorite part was getting to see elk close up. Like, holy shit! Look at those beautiful beasts. Phenomenal. Just right there, hanging out around people. So again, fun. On the way back, we stopped at Prescott on a lake. It's a big, beautiful lake. From there, Mexico City. Now, Mexico City, I think I was going to talk about, but I didn't because I had surgery, like, right as I got back. Like, my calendar was really crazy during that time. But Mexico City, I was massively impressed by. Like, Mexico City is a place that I never wanted to go in my entire life. I was just like, this is too many people, and they're all Mexicans, and I don't want to go. Like, all the traffic, I have allergies of everything, so the pollution is probably going to be killing me, which it kind of did. Like, every single morning I blew my nose, and it was just blood, and that sucked, and I could barely sleep, and I was like, this is horrible. But I was very impressed by the city. I was very impressed with how, like, the amount of green stuff. This is actually the picture here is actually the presidential palace, or what used to be. Like, it's called Los Pinos, which basically would be the equivalent of the White House, or at least it used to be. It's it's got like a beautiful little garden and stuff. And we went to the Estadio Azteca. You've probably seen Estadio Azteca. If there's an NFL game in Mexico City, it's in Estadio Azteca. So it's like the cathedral of football in Mexico. I've never been before. We went for my buddy's bachelor party, and every single day. So again, Mexico City, every single day, we went to a concert, pretty much. Every single night we went to a show. So it's a city that has a lot going on. The food's phenomenal, and the people are actually pretty great. Again, I did not expect this. It's, how audiences here in California and San Diego, they're like nodding along with a band or whatever. No, they get into it, man. They really get into it. Every single show. I was impressed at every single show. So a variety of fans, they really got into it. It's like there's so many people, you kind of get lost in the sea of them, and so you kind of just don't give a fuck. And it's contagious. So we capped off that whole bachelor trip with a festival called Ceremonia, which was like thousands of people and a bunch of bands. It was really awesome, and I wish I could get more into it, but I don't know. It's a lot of stuff. I may do something in the future, but not right now. It's just too much. From that point on, I had surgery. And so for those of you who don't remember what the surgery was, it was supposed to be like a silly little thing on my nose to help fix a deviated septum, which gave me sleep apnea. And it was supposed to be like a quick little thing, week recovery tops. And the worst thing that I would have had to take was was going to be Tylenol for the pain. Like, that's it. When they opened me up, they found that I had a fracture in the base of my nose, of my nostrils cavity or whatever. Well, I know it in Spanish. I tried translating, but whatever. They found that I had a fracture there. It was probably from birth. So the way that they heal a fracture is they kind of have to fracture it again. So they literally broke my face. They had to break my fucking face. And this is around April, I think. Broken, and my silly little thing that was going to take 2 days to recover and like a week's tops turned into a 6-month recovery. And so that really put a damper in my year. So from that point on, I kind of just sucked. For the next few months, I really, really sucked. Like, I was in constant pain, even a little bit of pain. However, my sleeping did get a lot better. And I think that also helped with my anger issues because I'm sleeping more now. Now, after that, I sleep through the night. It was something that didn't happen before. Now it happens all the time. Like I got this thing, the Amazon Halo thing, and it tells you your sleep. And so it's like a Fitbit. It's like the Amazon version of Fitbit. It tells you your sleep, and my sleep's great. Honestly, it's gotten pretty good. Like every single day, like even on a night that I sleep 6 hours, I still get like a 77 score. So it's doing pretty good. Again, I feel like it's done wonders for my mood, even though, you know, others might disagree. But I think it's been like a very pleasant change. So did it suck? Yes. It was painful. It's the worst pain I've ever been. Probably. It was constant, and it was right on my face. And was it worth it? Probably, yeah. Like if they told me going in that we're gonna have to break your fucking face to do it, I would have said no. I'll just live with the pain. I'll just, you know, live with the suffering. It's not worth. Breathing's not worth it. You know, like this nice little. You can hear that. You can hear how it's not really obstructed right now. It's like a little bit because I'm a little bit, but I have a little bit of allergy, or I don't know, I might be getting sick. But you hear that? Like. It goes in. I can breathe. My hands always used to be very clammy. Now they're not clammy anymore. It's a bunch of stuff. Like a bunch of stuff in my life have gotten considerably better because of the surgery. However, if you would have told me going in that they would be 6 months recovery and they're gonna break my fucking face, I probably would not have done it. Am I glad that it did happen and that I went in not knowing? Sure, because it ended up being a good thing overall. It's just, you know, it's really painful. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a fun experience, guys. I don't recommend that part. But anyway, I also got, you know, I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna share something. I was gonna share too much, but whatever. So from that point on, I wanted to take just something really light. And a buddy of mine lives in Colima, so I went there with my girl. I was like, you can explore Colima. I had fun there. They have a really kick-ass zoo. And the zoo, you probably seen this video of the freaking hippo. That just walks up to you. We actually went through the back, which you're not supposed to do, but, you know, stop me. You can't stop me. So we got to feed them, and they got up really close. Now, for those of you who don't know, a hippo will kill you. It's one of the most violent mammals on the planet, but it seemed worth the risk to, you know, stand behind this really crappy cement wall that's coming apart, just, you know, to get to see the hippos up close. I don't recommend this at home, but it was a fun experience. So again, nice little trip to Colima. Then we went to Mazatlan, which is also in Colima, but this is at the coast. So, you know, we were in the jungle, now we're in the coast, you know, relaxing. A nice little relaxing trip to the beach. You've probably seen this resort somewhere in a movie. I'm pretty sure that whenever they're in Mazatlan, they show this. Next, I went to a concert, Starset concert, and I was massively impressed. Like, out of all the concerts that I went last year, I'm not talking like festivals or whatever, I just mean concert of one band. The one that I was most impressed by was Starset, easily. Like, I walked out being the biggest fan. I had never heard of this band. Once the show starts, like, oh, I think I've heard this song on the radio before. But it's a very different vibe. And I think I did a review for this, so I'm not going to get too into it. The point is, it's a show, it's a performance, and it gets you really into it. So I highly recommend, if you get the chance to see them live, to go do it. It's a trip. It's honestly worth it. It's not really that expensive. So there you go. Next, went to La Paz again, taking it easy, recovering. La Paz is basically a beach town here in Baja California, and we went there for a weekend basically to just chill, but we ended up doing a bunch of stuff. I really just wanted to go lay down and do nothing, but again, outside, girl likes doing stuff, so whatever. So we rented this little like moped, and we just started driving around the coast, which was fun. You know, it's a nice little, it's an easy thing to do, and it's fun. It's exciting. You get to see everything. It's a nice little beautiful view of the whole thing. Then we got a little tour that takes you around an island near there, and you can see just the water here is beautiful. Like this whole thing, like it honestly, there's natural beauty up the wazoo in La Paz. I highly recommend it if you're into that stuff. We got to see some sea lions, just chilling there. It's getting close to their mating season, so we couldn't actually go in the water with them, but supposedly you can go and swim with them. But again, you don't want to go while they're hyper territorial or they're about to be. We got to see a school of dolphins that were just swimming near us, and we just started, riding with them. It was great. Like, I've never seen so many dolphins out in the wild. These are like it's a black type of dolphin. It's not like the bottlenose, but they're still beautiful little animals. It was great. Again, look at all these freaking dolphins. It's great. Again, I'm pretty sure I already did a review for this. I'm just going to power through. Next, we start the wedding palooza. And I forgot to mention one. We had one wedding earlier on in the year. I don't think I have a picture for it, but from that point on, it was just, we had like 7 weddings in 2 months. It was crazy. It was nonstop weddings. And from every single wedding, I learned a little bit. And first off, here, I'm going to just give you like a bunch of tips, guys. So for a bunch of free tips, if you ever have to do a speech at a wedding, free advice. Write something down. All right. Write something down. You don't have to have the notes with you, but write something down. I can't tell you the amount of people that they're just choked out there, or they thought they could make stuff up and it didn't work out, or that they halfway through the speech decided that what they were doing was not, or what they were saying was not appropriate. Like one of the guys literally in the middle of it had to stop and be like, "Oh, verga." It was like, "Oh shit. Oh, I'm gonna start over." So write something down. Unless you're a natural entertainer, read it. Just read something. Keep it short and sweet. Don't go over 3. I'd say 3 to 5 minutes is a good enough sweet spot. And don't make it about you. I can't tell you how annoying it is when, like, the moment, like, I audibly groaned every single time they did it. When somebody started a speech and like, "Oh yeah, so let's say I'm so-and-so's brother. I can't tell you how honored I was the moment when so-and-so told me." It's like, shut the fuck up. This is not about you. Like, I remember my wedding and blah. Like, shut the fuck up. This is not about you. Nobody cares who you are. We're here for the bride and the groom. So, again, short and sweet. Do not talk about yourself. Write something down and maybe read it. I don't know. It depends. You know your own. You should know yourself by this point. But anyway, lots of weddings. So those are my points. This is wedding number 3 at this point. This one was in Tecate. This one, I believe, was in El Valle Guadalupe, which is, like the wine country in Mexico. It's actually pretty nice. Next, this is the summer. We went up to Twin Lakes, which is beautiful. It's like a beautiful couple of lakes up in the mountains, and I don't think it's North Carolina. It's like 5-7 hours from here, up north in California. I think it's above Big Bear. I don't really know. I just know it was a really long drive. We also I got to play around with my drone a little bit. We went on a hike. We were 2 hours in, like an hour, 2 hours into the hike up in the mountains, and we found like this nice little prairie. And so I decided, let's just play around with my drone, because I was carrying it around. So you can see like a nice little shot here of it. This is my first time actually trying out the drone outside in nature. I was really nervous about it because, again, I don't know how the signal was going to work. I don't know if it was going to hit a tree or whatever, if it could actually detect them. But we had a good time. Again, stuff that takes you outside. Drones take you outside. You can't use them inside, or at least you shouldn't. It's very dangerous. But I played around with it. Again, it's like a nice little creek there. It's a beautiful spot. I highly recommend. If you like nature, it's a beautiful spot. In the summer, it's super hot, but the water is cold because the water comes from melted ice from the mountains. So the water is actually cold. It's really refreshing. We actually, in the lake, we ended up kind of like falling adrift. We couldn't get back to the shore, so we were just kind of like stranded out in the middle of the lake until a boat had to rescue us. So, it was fun and pathetic at the same time. We also saw a bear. Now, I don't know if I told you this, but we had an interesting experience with bears. So as you can see, that bear is out there and it's walking toward us. So we're walking away from it. It's a black bear. And now this one's kind of used to people, but that's the middle of the day, right? And it was still reasonably far away from us. At night at the camp, while we were grilling meat, the bear and its 3 cubs started coming towards us. And I'm telling you, maybe 20 feet away from us, coming in our direction. And so we freaked the fuck out. It's not a fun experience. Like, fortunately, we had bear spray, but and like I have a lamp, which is actually a pretty cool lamp. So if you can see it here, it's a normal lamp, but if you notice it, it has this thing that if you push it forward, it concentrates all the light. And so actually, I should probably put myself bigger here so that you can see it. So I have this lamp with me, right? I had it with me, and so when you turn it on, you can see it. It's wide, right? But if you push this forward, the light concentrates on a single. There you go, on a single spot. And so I just aimed it at the bear's eyes, just like straight at the bear's eyes, and it kind of didn't like that. And we started making a lot of noise, and we woke up, all the camps around us, and scared off the bear. But that made us freak the fuck out. It was not a fun experience to have a bear come at you while you're grilling some meat in the middle of the night with its cubs, which is when they get the most territorial. And it's really funny because my girl was like, so what, if it comes back, what do I do with the meat? I was like, leave it. You just leave it. You run. It's a bear. Well, you don't run. You back away. Just leave it. Forget you. I prefer it eating that meat than eating our meat. So there you go. We also checked out. It's like a little what's it called? Like a ghost town. I've never been to a ghost town before. It was actually pretty interesting. I don't remember the name of it, honestly. But again, it was super hot. It's just so hot. It was like, oh, let's just go back. This is excruciatingly painful. Let's just go back to camp. Next, Comic-Con. Comic-Con, it was not the same for me this year. I didn't actually get to work it. I just stopped by to check out my friends. These are the dudes from AEW, from wrestling, All Entertainment Wrestling. If you guys can see here, you guys know who these guys are. The big name probably here would be CM Punk. This is when he was injured with his leg. This is the dude who doesn't say stuff. I forget his name. Cool something. I don't know. Whatever. Point is, AEW dudes. And we also got to see... Well, I fucked these pictures up. This dude, this man right here, I forget his name, but he owns the rights to Batman. And so his interview was fascinating because he got to talk about how he got the rights and all the stuff that they've been doing with the Batman franchise. Gave, a little bit of hints to the future. So because of this man, we got the Tim Burton movies. We got the Christopher Nolan movies. Now we got the latest, the Batman. So we got Kevin Conroy. So I owe a lot of my childhood to this guy, and I do not remember his name, even though I was there for the interview and I actually got to talk to him a little bit. But I've been terrible with names my entire life, so sorry. Fortunately, I don't think he's gonna hear this, but whatever. It was a fun little thing. Again, I didn't get to work it this year because I had to. It would require me taking days off from work, and I had already I was already gonna take days off because I was going with my friends on another bachelor party, which brings us to probably my next trip, if I'm not mistaken, fishing trip. So here we went sports fishing for another bachelor party for one of my best friends, and down to Bahia de Los Angeles, which is down, in Baja. It's so beautiful down there. So freaking beautiful. And the fishing's phenomenal. Like, we caught a bunch of fish. Like, every single day we just filled out our coolers. I think, like, one day I got out like 5 yellowtails, 6. And another day it was like 13. Like, it was nonstop. My arms were killing me, but it was a fun experience. Again, stuff outside, getting your own food, being a man. Again, I highly recommend it. And plus, being out in the middle of nowhere, no internet, no Wi-Fi, no nothing, just with your friends. We ate meat the entire time, drank beer, smoked cigars. Well, they did. I'm not really big a cigar guy, but it was great. It was a great time. And by this point, I was kind of starting to recover more from the surgery. And again, you're in a beautiful spot, doing a fun activity with your buddies, having drinks, just being stupid. We drank beers all day and we never got drunk because it was so fucking hot. But it was worth it. Honestly, it's one of the best trips I've been on my entire life. So again, down with my buddies for a bachelor party. Just, the water's beautiful. The fish were biting, which is probably the most important thing. We caught a bunch of them, and good times. I also got to see a whale shark up close. Now, we considered jumping on it, but it's one of those things, like, this thing is still a shark. It's still a wild animal, and it's time for us to move from where we are. But this thing is ginormous. freaking enormous. Also, the reason why we really didn't want to jump here is because there were stingrays in this area. So it's like, do we want to risk it? Do we want to be the idiots that gets stung by a stingray right as the trip has begun? Not really. So, but yeah, you get to see a whale shark again. Really fun stuff from beginning to end. The drive was like 8 hours there and back, and it was just me and a friend in the car. So we just talk. It was really funny because it was other cars. They had 3 or 4 people. Our car was just gonna be 2 of us because those are the only 2 people who fit in that car. And the entire way we just talked. We hadn't talked to each other in a very long time, and we caught up on years of stuff. It was a great conversation, but we had a rule on the trip: whenever we do something in groups, we can't be in the same group. We just can't, because we're gonna need stuff to talk about on the way back, so we can't be on the same freaking boat. So and it's really funny because on the way back, we were different people. It's fun. You know how you ever had a trip where it kind of just changes you as a person, changes your perspective on stuff? It kind of reintroduces you to your friends as grown-ups in a way, like the new people they've become, and you're like, oh man, like this is the dude that I used to love, and I love him again. It was just a great trip all around, and it's a fun experience, and it's a fun memory that I have. The 8 hours of just spending it with a friend and getting deep into a conversation and getting into deep philosophical stuff. We talked about everything: life, family, friendship, religion, politics, philosophy, medicine, cooking, fishing, hunting, anything, everything. We talked about it. So it's one of those things. Like I look forward to doing it again with the same person, with somebody else. It's a fun little experience. And again, the drive all the way from San Diego up to Twin Lakes with my girlfriend, it's a fun stuff. Like I really enjoy those conversations you can only have in a car with somebody. I don't know why. I don't know what is it about cars, but it's like the perfect spot to have those types of conversations. Anyway, next, I got to go on what are these called? I know in Spanish, global, like a hot air balloon. Yeah, my first time on hot air balloon. This is again, we're at Valle de Guadalupe. This is again, it's basically like the wine country down in Baja. First time on it, and the reason why we were there is because my girlfriend's kid brother was going to be, he was going to propose to his girlfriend. I don't know why he wanted all of us there, but we were, and I ended up recording the whole thing. Obviously, I'm not going to show the recording because it's not really my recording, but this is how it looked from there. It's really nice. I didn't know the way that there's no way to actually control how the hot air balloon, navigates. They kind of just hope for the best. It's like the wind takes you, and you hope that you eventually find a place you can land, and a van has to chase you the entire time. So honestly, I think it would have been super exciting to be in that van. But it's fine. You're up in the air. That we crash landed, which was, it was a harder landing than anticipated. We had to hold on and stuff, and we almost fell over. But it was fun. It's a beautiful view too. So I recommend it. Next wedding, San Quintin, which is a crappy little town. I'm kidding. No, it's just a really tiny little town in Baja, like a few hours south of Ensenada, and there's nothing to do. Like there's just a bunch of dust everywhere. Actually, the nickname they have for it in Spanish is San Polvin, which basically it's like Saint Dusty, because there's no way you won't be covered in dust. It's just dust. I don't know why they won't build pavement or something, but it's just dust everywhere. But again, another wedding, and this weekend was actually the week. I don't know if you guys heard the news, but this is the weekend where Narcos decided they were going to shut down the entire state, and they started setting buses on fire. So we're like, I was like, man, am I going to get stuck in freaking San Quintin? Like, how does this happen? Like, there's no way that I'm going to get stuck down here. No. Oh my God. But anyway, another wedding. Next we had another wedding for one of my best friends. This one was in TJ, thank God. So we didn't really have to travel anymore for a wedding. In this one, my girlfriend passed out like after the ceremony, before she even had a drink. So you can imagine how much fun that was from that point. Then I went with a couple of my best friends to see Breaking Benjamin, which is a band that I really been. It's Breaking Benjamin, Bush, and Alice in Chains. I I was very impressed by Bush. I didn't expect much. I was like, whatever. It was right after the Queen died, so he made a bunch of comments that I found really funny. But Breaking Benjamin, really impressed. Like, it was one of those bands that I always wanted to see, but for some reason never went. So I wouldn't say bucket list, but really enjoyed the show. And at first we were like, who the hell is Benjamin? Which one is it? Because there's 3 dudes singing there. But fun show. Enjoyed it. Next wedding. This is in Sinaloa, Culiacan. What you're seeing right now on screen, if you actually look at the screen, is a tarantula. Because while we were at the wedding, I could not be inside the venue anymore because the band was ridiculously loud. And I mean insanely loud. And the party hadn't really started yet. So I was like, let's just go for a walk. So we went out, these beautiful gardens and stuff. And as we're walking back, we find this big ass tarantula right in the middle of the path, like right in the middle of it. It's like, oh my God, a tarantula. And so I started getting close to it and recording it because, I'm an idiot and I like animals and stuff. Like, oh my God, I've never seen a tarantula out in the wild. And just where this video ends is where the tarantula turns around and makes a beeline straight for my girlfriend, like right forward. And she's like, so she's trying to run away in heels. And so I laughed my ass off. It was really funny. And from that point on, you can only imagine the amount of tarantula jokes that I did, or spider jokes and stuff like, oh, you got one in your hair and stuff like that. So again, that's probably the most memorable part of that wedding for me, that tarantula and it going just straight for her. Like, it just completely ignored me. It just made a beeline. It was hysterical. Next, this was actually supposed to be a little video. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's like a thing that people do where they're like, oh, I'm Dario Gonzalez, and this is my first drink. And then they show you saying that, and then they show you what happens afterwards, and you're like all fucked up. So I was supposed to be doing that, but whoever recorded this is a dumbass and recorded me before I started talking, and then afterwards when I finished. However, I was one of the groomsmen here. The wedding was phenomenal. It was very beautiful. It was right in front of a lake here in San Diego. The bride and groom were very happy. They made people cry. It was great. It was a beautiful wedding. A friend of mine fell and broke his pants in the middle of the party. It was great. Afterwards, we went to a buddy's house, and I got to see in the flesh a GT, like a Mustang. I'm sorry, like the Ford GT. Which, if you saw the movie Ford versus Ferrari, this is the Ford that Shelby, I'm sorry for his name, Shelby built that defeated the Shelby Cobra. I'm not saying that this is the exact car. Also, that's my friend's dog, but this is the model. It's a beautiful car. It's like a spaceship in there. It's wild. We're all drunk. It's like, oh my God, like. This is awesome. I want to drive it, but no, we couldn't do it. Next, Halloween. Let me see if I haven't missed anything here. And as you guys can see, I did a kick-ass Star-Lord. It's probably one of the best jobs I've done in a costume. Not gonna lie, if I do say so myself. I think I killed it. Like, you check it out. I even have the Walkman here. Like, I have the blasters and stuff. I'm having a hell of a time. I even got the hair a little bit. So, it was fun times. Halloween was fun, enjoyable, drinks. I got super hungover the next day. It's one of those things. I don't think I've actually, gone seriously drinking since, because I was so hungover, so brutally hungover. A friend of mine gave me a drink. I think it's a beer Ricky. I think that's what it was. And it's going to sound disgusting, but they grabbed in like an Imperial IPA and gin, and they mix it. But they mix it, with also like with syrup and stuff like that, and lemon. And the thing that's shocking about it, it's that it doesn't taste like gin and doesn't taste like beer. It's wild. I was stunned. I was blown away by the fact that I'm drinking something that I know what it is because I put it in there. And it doesn't taste like either of them. It really fucked me up. Because, I drank it a lot, and I just, I never want to see an IPA or gin in the rest of my life, probably. It was brutal. The hangover was brutal. And honestly, it's probably because of all the sugar. Whatever. it's just, you know, it was impressive. But anyway, next, this is actually kind of a sad part. As you can see, this here is Dark Star. Dark Star, for those of you who don't know, was my Nile monitor. For those of you who don't know what a Nile monitor is, it's like, imagine like a tiny little velociraptor that walks on 4 legs. Anyway, if you see of the logo of my channel, you can see it right here. It was actually, he's inspired. My logo of the channel, you know, the little reptile thing, is inspired by Dark Star. Unfortunately, due to living arrangements at this point of the year, we decided, right, I'm going to move in with my girl, and we were trying to find places to live, like somewhere to live, you know, like, oh, well, where can we live? And one of the things that we were looking at spots that had enough space for the monitor too, because I built him a big enclosure for him to, you know, move around and stuff, and eat comfortably, and, you know, have like a big pool that's working the entire time, that's always clean, that's cleaned regularly with a machine. So, you know, it's a Nile monitor, so it likes to spend a lot of time in water. Anyway, then he kind of disappeared. He disappeared from the cage, and I turned the thing upside down. I couldn't find them. I was like, how? I couldn't even find out how he escaped. I was like, how did he do this? Like, I built this thing, and I thought I made it, you know, like idiot proof. How the hell did it get out? And so after a month of him being gone, I was like, all right, fine, I'm calling it, and I'm gonna start, you know, giving stuff away, or I'm gonna start taking the cage down, because this thing is just taking up space in our garage. And as I started taking the thing down, I found that he was hiding inside the freaking cage. The cage that had been open, I just left it open because he wasn't there. I took all the dirt out, I took everything out, and he was there underneath. Like, I made like a special kind of floor. I don't know how I couldn't see him. He was so lucky that I didn't step on him while I was doing it, but I'd already taken down like over half the thing and thrown a bunch of stuff away. So I was, and he nearly gave me a fucking heart attack. Because imagine it was a sad day, you know, taking the cage down, everything. It's like, oh, I built this thing out of love for this animal that I loved, and I was taking care of it, and I was taking it down. Every single piece that I took down sucked, and then I removed this piece from the floorboard, and all of a sudden I just see his face pop up, like, yeah. I was, it nearly fucking killed me. Like, it nearly fucking killed me. It's the closest I've been to death in my entire life from a freaking heart attack. And I was happy and fucking pissed off. I was like, you couldn't have popped up sooner. Every single time I went in the garage, because that's where he kept him, he made some kind of noise that he was mad or just something. But he was there for a month and didn't make any type of noise, and I have no idea how he got there. So I was really pissed. I was just beyond pissed. I was like, oh, I gotta rebuild this thing tonight because I have nowhere else to put him. I have not. What else can I do? And at that point, I was like, oh, well, we were already starting looking for a new apartment, a new place to live, and the place that we're looking for don't have enough room for him. So I came to the hard decision that it was better. Like, if he didn't want to be there with me, fine. So, and I looked up a sanctuary in Arizona where they took him in and stuff. So I ended up I ended up driving him up to Arizona and finding him a new happier home. Hopefully he's doing fine. Like, when we dropped him off in the sanctuary looked great, by the way. But they had like 50 turtles outside. It looked pretty cool. But when I dropped them off, I was really happy when I heard some of the employees talk, and they were like, oh, I heard one say like, oh, is that a Nile monitor? Oh my god, we don't get many of those. So I was like, okay, so apparently it's a rare thing. He's gonna be rarity. Most people just tend to, let these animals loose. They shouldn't. Like, I was miserable for a month thinking about him being outside because winter was about to start, so he's gonna be out in the cold. This is a cold-blooded animal. He was gonna be miserable out there, suffering. He's gonna be eating, God knows what. I mean, at this point, he's big enough where I don't think there's any predators in the area who could take him down. Maybe like a big dog or maybe a cat if it got a lucky shot. But like birds, not gonna do anything to him. He probably could eat them. But I was like, man, but it's winter. He's gonna be cold, and he's cold-blooded. He's just gonna be frozen. So it gave me a lot of peace of mind that he was there, and that he's now in a sanctuary, and he's probably doing, he's doing fine. He has, like a better habitat or whatever. It just sucks. You know, having to give him up sucks. And again, my girlfriend had been like a really good sport about the whole thing. Like she was okay with trying to accept that this was a pet in my life, but I knew that she was never gonna, that she never really liked them. Like I loved them. Like I loved him, but he didn't love me. And so it was again, one of those, you know, unhealthy relationships. But you know, in the end, I thanks to me, he grew up, he's big, he's healthy, and now he's in a better spot, hopefully, you know, like a nice little sanctuary. So it sucks, it's sad to think about it, because again, I put a lot of work into that thing. Like I tried to socialize as best I could, but even like the best that I could is just merely tolerated my presence, and it was probably happier when I left it alone. But whatever. But I managed to grow it. Like I managed to raise it, and he's a grown up and he's alive because I took good care of him, and I didn't just throw him out in the wild, you know, to survive on his own. So it's one of those things, like it kind of feels like, it sucks because it feels like I'm giving up, but at the same time it's like, well, I didn't fail. It's just my life changed. Then I was at that point, I was considering moving to Mexico. I was like, how the hell am I gonna cross them? Like I'm gonna have to get a special permit. I don't know how you cross reptiles. So there's a lot of stuff that went into it. So at the end, it ended up being a better decision. It still feels like kind of like giving up, but in the end, I know it's the better decision. It was smarter. It was probably healthier too. Next, that point, went to Cancun. Well, it was specifically Playa del Carmen. Playa del Carmen is near Cancun. We went to, you know, like a nice little cenote, which is like, imagine like a lake in the middle of nowhere. It's basically a hole with clean water in it in the middle of the jungle. It's very beautiful. Like that. If you've ever been to, you know, Cancun stuff, the beach, it's like you're walking, the sand is like you're walking, you know, on carpet. The water is like nice and warm. Actually, this was a day that the ocean looked kind of ugly there, but I'll show you Cancun in a minute. And we went to a show in Coco Bongo. Like I remember going to Coco Bongo when I was 18, so it was like over a decade ago. You know, like for our graduation, we went to Cancun and we ended up going to Coco Bongo, and it was fun. It's like, oh, like this is one of the greatest clubs I've been to in my life. It's a great party. Going back as a grown-up to watch the show, just enjoy the show that they have there. Holy shit, it's a great experience. Like even if you're not into clubs anymore, just to watch the show they have live, because you know they use bits from different movies, characters from different movies. They pretend like that dude's pretending to be Freddie Mercury. This is from Moulin Rouge. There's, you know, Michael Jackson. There's The Mask. There's Beetlejuice. Like it, just for the show alone, it's worth it. And you know, probably it's open bar, so after that you can just get out of there. Highly recommend if you have the opportunity to go check out Coco Bongo. It's great. Honestly, it's great. It's not really that expensive in the grand scheme of things. You also get to see Spider-Man there fighting you know, the Green Goblin. It's great. Highly recommend it. Oh, damn it. It was just when the Mad Max start was going to stop. The Mad Max stuff was going to start. Damn it. Well, sorry. And again, Cancun, as you can see, beautiful, beautiful blue. Like all these shades of blue. Right? Look at that. Look at that. Heaven on earth right there. Beautiful. Again, nice little relaxing vacation. And finally, you know, we get Christmas time. So I think this is probably like the only picture I took that's Christmas related. I went to Liberty Station and took a picture of the tree. You guys can't see it here. Damn it. I can't pull back. I'll try. Nope, can't pull back. So I took a nice little picture of the tree there, and you know, walked around. The Christmas overall with the family was good. And finally, New Year's. I actually ran into the show. I ran into Sky and Eddie from the show we were at a party with a mutual friend. It was our mutual friend's, his wife. It was her birthday, and so for her birthday, he did a thing where they could kind of renew their vows. So it was kind of like a wedding / birthday party / surprise party / New Year's party / whiteout party. So it was a lot of fun, you know, getting to see like the old crew again, getting some drinks, talking about life and stuff. So fun times. I won't get too much into it, but the show was fun. I had a good time. It was good seeing them. Things are very different, but it's fun when you get to see how things have changed, and at the same time how so many things stayed the same. So it was a fun little experience. It was good. I was happy to see them, and I think that's it. That's where my year ended. So overall, like I said, great year. Honestly, great freaking year. I can't complain. Like I said, like I could complain about the nose thing. I can complain about a lot of stuff, but overall, it's a great year. I'm very happy with a lot of things that happen. I'm happy with my work situation. I'm happy with where life is. I'm happier about how the future is looking. So I'm very much excited for 2023. So big things on the horizon. Big lessons that I learned throughout the year. Hopefully, some of this, at least entertained you, but something helped you. Maybe it made something click. But I don't know. I'm thinking that for next year, I'll try to write more stuff down. Like, oh, I learned this from this. I learned this from this. So I don't know. We'll see. But as always, I'm tired of talking. Like I should grab some water. But I think that's it for today. That's good. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario SDW and at Super Dario World on Instagram. I don't know. Again, I don't know when I'm gonna do the geek movie review stuff. Because again, I'm literally in the middle of a move, and I'm either gonna tear this thing down or it's gonna take a while to rebuild the other studio because there's so much stuff that we need to do for the new house. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. Hopefully, I will be able to do it before this weekend. But again, if I'm traveling out of town to get the puppy, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it because it's gonna take up the puppy's gonna take up a lot of time. The trip alone is gonna take up a day, but whatever, doesn't matter. I'll break that down whenever that happens. As always, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.